Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Gonna be talking about Superstar mode this time around, and this isn't like a full-on wish list. I didn't like really type out a whole wish list and come up with all these things for what I'd like to see in Superstar mode. Just some general things I want to talk about with Superstar mode, because I think a lot of people would agree. That mode kind of sucks. I know they've made some changes over the past few years since they brought it back. I believe they really brought it back when it was originally face of the franchise. And it just feels like that mode just kind of hasn't really improved much since it was face of the franchise. And it's just not interesting to play. Road to Glory, despite not having high school and despite it being the first year of that mode being back, was far more engaging than I think, Madden 26's or Madden 25 Superstar mode is. And one of the fun things I like about that mode, about Road to Glory, is like it's possible to suck in that mode. Like it's actually you do actually have to do things to earn your starting position, unless you're like the first overall pick, which I think is kind of hard to do. I'm not sure if you actually can be picked first in Madden 25 Superstar mode. I'm not 100% sure on that. Actually, let me go look that up real quick. I just got done watching a RBT video. And no, I don't think you actually can get drafted number 1 overall in Superstar mode. Even when importing your 99 overall, likely 3 to 4 time Heisman Trophy winning, multiple national championship winning quarterback from college football, if you import, because you can do that. If you import that player, you would think that'd be a shoo-in to go first overall. You can't. So I guess number 1 on my kind of list, but not really a list, but it's kind of a list. Number 1 is going to be better Road to Glory integration when importing your player from college football. Right now, it imports your face that you make in Road to Glory, and it imports like your name, obviously, and it imports what school you went to. But outside of that, that's basically it. That's all that gets imported. And really none of your stats get imported. I think when you're kind of doing your players' ratings, it might give you some extra points when you slot those in. Honestly, I think if you're importing a 99 overall, because if you were that good, honestly, it should probably make you like at least like an 82 overall, kind of off rip. A lot of your physical ratings like throw power, speed, things like that. If you had those really highly rated, those should probably carry over from Road to Glory, instead of it being like, no, you gotta like kind of start that stuff back from the bottom. That really doesn't make sense to me, because it kind of defeats the whole purpose of importing your player from Road to Glory. So that's something that needs to be fixed for Superstar mode in Madden 26. Number 2, it's going to be faster menus. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember. I think one of my main issues with playing Superstar mode, when I played a little bit just to mess around with it in Madden 25, was that the menus were like just painfully slow, and this kind of goes across the board. This was an issue in franchise mode. I felt like just doing anything it just took a really long time. I really don't understand why the menus were just so slow. Everything felt like you had to go through like 2 or 3 different sub menus to do any one thing. And when you start doing that sort of stuff, it makes you not want to actually interact or play said mode, just because it's like, this is like it's kind of like really annoying to deal with all of that. So number 2 for sure has to be better menus. Number 3 is going to be better progression in the mode. I think how they do it now is just you kind of pick each individual thing you want to upgrade. I would prefer it if it was more like Road to Glory. Honestly, just copy a lot of the base stuff from Road to Glory, and I think Superstar mode will be a lot better. Which is weird, because I'm pretty sure Superstar mode way back in the day came before, when they started finally doing, the Road to Glory modes and things like that. I believe that was like in NCAA 06, I want to say. So that's something I want to see. And just better progression, just, instead of having to upgrade each individual, I don't think you have to upgrade each individual stat, but just something more similar to Road to Glory, where they have things kind of in buckets, and then you kind of give points to that. Road to Glory does need to do that a little bit better, because I think there were some times where I felt like it did take a little too long to get like upgrade points in that mode. But I don't know. I feel like it was kind of good to piecemeal it out. I don't think you want to have a mode where like you can get to be a 99 overall the first season. I don't think that should be possible. But I do think if you perform well and you win awards, I think that should definitely give you more points. Like winning an MVP or winning Rookie of the Year should give you, I don't know, that should be like 5 upgrade points or something like that, right? If you kind of break records, that should give you upgrade points. But things like that. That's kind of the issue with these modes, where like you break these awards and you can win all these accolades, and then you don't like it says it, you see a little thing in the menu, but like it doesn't really come across like in the game or anything like that. So I would like to see that. Maybe it does that. I didn't play enough Superstar mode to know, so I don't know. I know a lot of people like these modes, these player modes, but Madden has really struggled with that, getting Superstar mode right, which is really interesting. I actually think it holds the game back a little bit. It's weird because like doing a career mode in a football game should be super easy, right? Because it's not like the NBA or Major League Baseball where there's so many games. Even with the expanded schedule, if you make the playoffs in the Super Bowl, what's that, like 19, 20 games in an entire season? I mean, that's pretty doable for anyone to play. And also, you're not playing the entire game this time in a Superstar mode, right? You're playing one position. So that's something so this should be really easy, I think, to get right. And it's kind of important to get right, I think. I think it was something that would really help Madden become even a bigger game, if they had a good career mode that was actually enjoyable to play. Number 4 is going to be better interaction with media. I feel like there's no interaction with the media outside like these little text things. I think, we can say a lot about 2K and kind of how like maybe even my career isn't as good as it used to be, but it's still a pretty decent career mode. I think there's like too much weird walking around elements and things like that. I feel like a lot of that stuff can be just done in menus, but I don't want an open world where I have to walk around. Let me just be abundantly clear on that. Not interested in that whatsoever. But I think better interaction with media. I think, you always see these post-game press conferences from, big time players, either in the locker room or they're standing at the podium if it's like kind of an important player, like a quarterback or something like that. So I think that's something that should be in the game. And it shouldn't be just text bubbles. Like, we have to remember we're in a new world now where a lot of people can't read. A lot of people can't read anymore. So it does have to be like voice acted out. You're just just get some voice actors. They can do, you get a couple media people, a couple voices for the players, things like that. And that can raise your, I don't know, I'm sure there could be like some sort of ratings of whether or not, fans like you and things like that. I'm sure your teammates, those sorts of just simple things like that, teammate trust, things like that, I think would, probably add in, boost. And I'm kind of iffy on doing like boosts because I feel like you don't need too many boosts. I feel like you already have enough boosts and things like that built in the game, from things like the abilities and, X factors and stadium stuff. Just there's enough boosts and abilities and things like that in the game already. Also things from the scenario engine, which are in this mode. I'd like to see that go away personally. But number 5 on here is going to be play any position. We have drills that we can play as offensive linemen. We should be able to play as offensive linemen. We should be able to play as defensive tackles. We should be able to play as punters and kickers. If someone wants to play as a punter, sure, let them. You know what I mean? Like, if someone wants to be the best punter ever, I'm not sure how that would be. I'm not sure what the metric for that would be in the game personally, but if someone wants to play as a punter or a kicker, I think that'd be really cool, honestly. If someone wants to do a kicker career, let them. They come out and kick extra points and field goals and things like that. So I'm sure you could figure out some cool ways to actually make that fun to do. You should be able to play as a safety if you want. You can play corner. And linebacker, they added that. But if you want to play, you can't play as an edge rusher. You can't play as like a defensive tackle. You can't play as a safety or anything like that, I don't think. So, let's keep expanding that. I don't think you can play as a tight end either, if I'm correct. So the more positions to play in Superstar mode, the better. And I think that's kind of all I have for Superstar mode. I don't really have like a lot of thoughts on Superstar mode. Just kind of these initial ones. I think just, I think just get the mode to be like good. And I think, people will be able to actually play the mode and probably come up with some ideas for what they think should be in here. But right now it's just kind of like nothing. It's kind of like a nothing mode. It's there. It's not that fun to play. Maybe, bring back, I don't know what they would bring back personally. Like endorsements, maybe you could do that. I think endorsements are in the game, but like they're not that interesting. They're just kind of like a little blurb that you get a boost for speed or something if you sign with a certain shoe company or something like that. That's not really interesting, and the old 2Ks used to be like ads, like these kind of not digital, but these just ads. They would kind of just show. They would show you. You'd have a whole thing of ads that you can look at that you were a part of. So maybe bring something like that. That'd be kind of cool. But that's kind of all I have on Superstar mode. Just want to get some thoughts on Superstar mode, which is weird because it's right before the draft, right? So I think now is probably the best time to talk about Superstar mode, right? So what would you guys like to see be added to Superstar mode in Madden 26? How would you like to see that mode just finally be playable? Because right now I feel like it's just, again, it's kind of a nothing mode. So I think they actually have to do a lot of work to that mode. I think if they do these like 5 things, I think it could get that mode to just being a decent playable mode. So I don't know. I didn't play too much of it. Maybe I'm off on this. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me down below what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.